"You'll never be part of this family," my stepmother Gloria announced to my 6-year-old daughter Lily, pointing toward the kitchen with a manicured finger that trembled with barely contained contempt. "Go eat in there where you belong. This dinner is for family, and you're just a visitor." My daughter's lip trembled, her small hands gripping her plate as she looked between Gloria and my father, waiting for someone to defend her. But why did my father set down his fork with a deliberate calm I'd never seen before? And why did his next words make Gloria's triumphant expression shatter into something approaching terror? "You're right, Gloria. Lily won't be part of this family." My heart stopped, because after these divorce documents are signed, he pulled a manila envelope from his jacket pocket, sliding it across the table toward his wife. "There won't be a family for you to be part of." Gloria stared at the papers like they were venomous. "What is this? Your exit from my life. From my daughter's life. From my granddaughter's life." He stood, walking to Lily and lifting her into his arms. "I've spent 2 years watching you mistreat the people I love. That ends tonight." Gloria had entered our lives when I was 32. My mother had died 5 years earlier, and my father had grieved alone until a mutual friend introduced him to Gloria, a widow with elegant manners and what seemed like genuine warmth. She'd been attentive to him, supportive of his work, and initially welcoming to me and Lily. Initially. The change came gradually, so slowly I almost didn't notice. Small comments about how Lily was too energetic or needed discipline. Suggestions that my visits were too frequent and interrupted their couple time. Subtle exclusions from holiday gatherings, explained away as intimate dinners that somehow never included Dad's actual daughter. I'd mentioned my concerns to my father once early on. "Gloria's still adjusting," he'd said. "Give her time." I'd given her time. 2 years of it. And she'd spent that time systematically trying to isolate my father from his own family. The dinner had been her masterpiece of cruelty. Gloria had invited us specifically, which should have been my first warning. She never wanted Lily around, claimed the child made her nervous with her constant noise and movement. But she'd insisted on this gathering, saying she wanted to make amends and build bridges. I'd hoped, foolishly, that she meant it. The first hour had been tense but tolerable. Gloria made pointed comments about Lily's table manners, about my career choices, about everything she could subtly criticize while maintaining plausible deniability. My father had seemed distracted, quieter than usual, watching the interactions without his typical attempts to smooth things over. Then came the main course. Gloria had served everyone except Lily. When I pointed out the oversight, she'd smiled that particular smile I'd come to dread. "Children should eat separately. It's better for digestion, theirs and ours." "Lily eats with family," I said firmly. "That's exactly my point." Gloria's voice turned cold. "She's not really family, is she? She's your daughter from your failed marriage. No blood connection to this household." "She's my granddaughter," my father said quietly. "By extension, not by blood. There's a difference." That's when she'd told Lily directly, told a 6-year-old child, that she would never be part of this family, that she should go eat in the kitchen. And that's when my father finally spoke. The divorce papers were already signed by him. He'd been planning this for months, apparently. The distracted behavior I'd noticed, the unusual quietness. He'd been consulting lawyers, documenting Gloria's treatment of his family, preparing for exactly this moment. "You can't be serious," Gloria sputtered. "Over a comment about a child's dinner placement? Over 2 years of comments. 2 years of exclusion. 2 years of watching you try to destroy my relationship with my daughter and granddaughter." Dad's voice was steady, almost frighteningly calm. "I kept hoping you'd change, that the woman I married would reappear. But she never existed, did she? She was just the role you played to get access to my life. I have been nothing but good to you. You've been good to my bank account, to my social connections, to the lifestyle my money provides." He gestured around the dining room. "But you've been poison to the people I actually love." Gloria's eyes darted to me, then to Lily, then back to my father. "This is her doing. She's turned you against me. My daughter has never said a negative word about you to me. Not once in 2 years. She kept hoping, like I did, that you'd become the person you pretended to be." He picked up the divorce papers. "But I've been watching, documenting, and I finally saw what I should have seen from the beginning." I hadn't known he was watching. Throughout Gloria's campaign of subtle cruelty, I'd assumed my father was oblivious. Too in love, too lonely, too desperate for companionship to see what was happening. I'd considered cutting off contact entirely, just to protect Lily from the constant rejection. But he'd been paying attention all along. The dinner invitation was my idea, he admitted later, after Gloria had retreated to their bedroom to process, and I'd settled Lily with a proper meal in the kitchen. By choice this time, away from the toxic atmosphere of the dining room. You set this up? I needed to see it clearly one final time. To make sure I wasn't imagining things, wasn't being manipulated by my own biases. He looked at Lily through the doorway, watching her eat mac and cheese with the uncomplicated joy of a child who'd just been defended. When she told Lily to leave, when I saw my granddaughter's face, any doubt I had disappeared. You could have talked to me. I would have told you what was happening. I know, but I needed to believe my own eyes. I'd been making excuses for Gloria for so long. I didn't trust myself anymore. He rubbed his face wearily. I'm sorry, sweetheart. For all of it. For not seeing sooner. For not acting sooner. You're acting now. That's what matters. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Gloria fought it, of course. Claimed emotional distress, alleged that my father had been poisoned against her by his controlling daughter. The court was unimpressed, especially when presented with the documentation my father had quietly assembled. Text messages where Gloria complained about Lily's presence. Emails where she discussed strategies for limiting my access to my father. Witness statements from household staff who'd observed her treatment of his family when she thought no one important was watching. The prenuptial agreement she'd signed, grudgingly, at her lawyer's insistence, protected my father's assets. Gloria left with what she'd brought to the marriage, which was considerably less than she'd hoped to accumulate. She called me yesterday. My father mentioned after the final hearing. Wanted to reconcile. Said she'd changed. What did you say? Nothing. I hung up. He smiled slightly. Some changes take time. This one took about 3 seconds. Lily recovered faster than any of us expected. Children are resilient. That's what everyone says. But I'd been terrified that Gloria's words would scar her, would make her feel unwanted and unloved in ways that would echo through her life. Instead, she seemed to understand something essential about what had happened. Grandpa picked us, she told me one evening, about a month after the divorce. Gloria was mean, and Grandpa picked us instead of her. That's exactly right, sweetheart. So I am part of the family. You were always part of the family. Gloria just couldn't see it. Lily considered this with the seriousness only a 6-year-old can muster. She wasn't very smart, was she? I laughed, the first genuine laugh I'd had in months. No, baby. She really wasn't. The relationship with my father transformed after Gloria's departure. Without her constant interference, we rebuilt the closeness we'd lost. Sunday dinners became weekly traditions again. Lily spent weekends at Grandpa's house, learning to garden and cook and build the bird feeders he'd always loved making. The isolation Gloria had engineered dissolved, replaced by the family connection she'd tried so hard to destroy. I should have trusted my instincts, Dad said during one of our Sunday dinners. From the beginning, something felt off. But I was lonely and she was beautiful, and I convinced myself that my discomfort was just adjustment. Loneliness makes us vulnerable. It does, but it shouldn't make us blind. He watched Lily playing in the backyard through the window. When she told that child to eat in the kitchen, when she said, "You'll never be part of this family," I saw Gloria clearly for the first time. All the masks dropped, and I saw someone who was capable of cruelty to a 6-year-old just to establish dominance. What made you finally act? Lily's face. The moment before she started to cry. This look of confusion, like she couldn't understand why an adult would want to hurt her. His voice roughened. I thought about your mother, what she would have said if she'd been there. She would have protected that child without hesitation. And I realized I'd been hesitating for 2 years. Gloria attempted contact several times over the following year. She sent letters claiming remorse, left voicemails promising change, even showed up at my father's house once, weeping on the porch about her mistakes. He called the police and filed for a restraining order. Some people perform regret, he told me afterward. They don't feel it, they perform it, because they've learned that performance sometimes gets results. Gloria's very good at performing, but I've seen her real face now. I can't unsee it. The restraining order was granted. Gloria eventually moved to another state, presumably to find another lonely widower whose family she could infiltrate. I hoped he had a daughter who would fight for him, and I hoped he would listen. 3 years later, Lily still remembered. We were driving past a restaurant where we'd once had an uncomfortable dinner with Gloria and Lily. now 9, pointed at it. That's where the mean lady used to take us. You remember that? I remember she didn't like me. She wanted me to go away so she could have Grandpa all to herself. How did that make you feel? Sad at first. But then Grandpa showed her the papers and said she had to leave, and I felt better. She paused. Grandpa loves me more than he loved her. That's why he picked us. That's exactly right. Will you do that for me? If someone is mean to me, always, sweetheart. Always. My father remarried 2 years ago. Her name is Doris, a retired teacher with 3 grandchildren of her own and absolutely no interest in competing with anyone for my father's attention. She brings extra cookies for Lily, asks about my work with genuine interest, and treats our family dinners as opportunities for connection rather than establishing hierarchy. I like her, Lily announced after their first meeting. She doesn't look at me like I'm in the way. No, I agreed. She doesn't. The wedding was small, just family and close friends. Lily was the flower girl, scattering petals with the enthusiasm of a child who understood she was celebrating something good. During the reception, my father found me alone for a moment. I almost let Gloria destroy this, he said, watching Doris dance with Lily across the room. Almost let loneliness convince me that cruelty was acceptable, that I should sacrifice my family for companionship. But you didn't. Because of Lily. Because of you. Because when it finally mattered, I remembered who I was supposed to protect. He squeezed my hand. I'm sorry it took me so long to act. You acted when it mattered. That night, at that dinner, you chose us. I'll always choose you. Both of you. That's what family means. She told my daughter she would never be part of the family. Told a 6-year-old child to go eat in the kitchen, away from the real family she was never going to belong to. She expected my father to stay silent, complicit, too invested in his second marriage to defend his granddaughter. But she underestimated him. She underestimated what happens when a grandfather watches cruelty directed at a child who shares his blood, his heart, his future. The divorce papers were already signed. He was just waiting for her to reveal herself one final time. She wanted Lily out of the family. Instead, she removed herself from our lives, from our home, from any future where she might hurt the people my father loves. That's what family actually means. Not blood alone, but choice. And my father chose us.